Where does a person's fortune come from? Let's listen to a story. Once upon a time, there was a businessman named Wang Youfu. Others make a fortune in business, but he compensated for any business he did. Later, a friend told Wang Youfu that you transport the silk from Hangzhou to Jingdezhen by boat. Then transport the driver from Jingdezhen back. You can make a big profit. Wang Youfu thought about it after listening to it. It feels like a good idea. So he took out the property. I bought a whole boat of silk. Just follow the Yangtze River to Jiangxi. When it is approaching Jiangxi, the ship actually showed dust. Wang Youfu came up with the silk that was called pussy in his arms. Just cry. At this time, a monk walked over and said, "My friend, why are you crying so sadly?" Wang Youfu said, "Master, why am I always so unlucky?" The monk said with a smile, "If God makes you rich, what would you do?" Wang Youfu said, "Of course, buy a house and buy land and take him to take a concubine." How to enjoy it? The monk said with a smile, "Your heart is selfish. And God hates the most is people like you. Let you have money, not only will it harm yourself, but it will also hurt others." Wang Youfu never heard such words, and seemed to understand something in his heart. Then he said, "Please give me advice." The monk saw Wang Youfu and had some enlightenment. "Just say I'll give you a few words. Everything in the world has spirits. When you meet someone who is home, you are not a human. There is no thought in my heart for others, I can't escape the words." After saying that, the monk turned around and left. Later, Wang Youfu came to rehabilitation. Exchanged the only remaining cold crust cloth for 100 taels of silver. But as soon as I went out, I heard the sound of dog flying from the opposite side. Wang Youfu curiously squeezed out of the crowd. I saw a black dog covered in wounds at the entrance of the dog meat restaurant, kneeling on the ground on the front legs. It seems to be begging the butcher not to kill him. This sutra and this scene made Wang Youfu think of what the monk said. Everything in the world has spirits. So Wang Youfu took out 5 taels of silver, bought the black dog. Then he led the black dog to the market again. Prepare to buy some goods and go home. At this moment, I heard the sound of a horse coming from a distance. He walked closer and took a look. I saw 2 strong men in uniform and 1 horse. Wang Youfu asked what's going on. The owner replied that someone in this family was sick. I don't have money to see the doctor, I can only sell my horse. Wang Youfu thought for a moment when he heard this. Then he took out 50 taels of silver. Buy the horse. Then he only had more than 40 taels of silver left. I can only buy a car of cotton and walk to the cloth mouth. But when it comes to the cloth mouth, this horse is not worn by any means. And the black dog bit his trouser legs and repaired the room. There is no way, Wang Youfu can only change the Han Road by water. Make many friends along the way. And I heard from a friend. That day, a storm blew on the river. All the merchant ships sank to the bottom of the river. Once this statement is made, Wang Youfu sweated coldly. Suddenly I remembered what the monk said. It turns out that this horse and dog are my nobles. 2 days later, Wang Youfu walked to the end of a dilapidated temple. I saw him worshipping me in the temple. There is also a businessman. Because of hunger, I'm going to eat the big rooster I brought to my house. But at this moment, a big black dog with the tip of blood rushed over. People who refuse to let go of the chickens. Wang Youfu is strong and smiling but helpless. So I used my pocket watch and big cake. A big rooster. When I woke up the next morning, I found that the corpses were all around me. And the big rooster is guarding the side. But the businessman in the temple was bitten to death by a poisonous insect. After Wang Yufugong was in office, he continued to go on the road. when he walked to a river. But a scholar was arguing with Baidu boatman. I only knew after asking. It turned out that it was the scholar's mother who had an infectious disease. Go across the river to treat the disease. But the boatman was afraid of being infected and refused to get on board. Wang Youfu said, "Let my horse head cross the river." After saying that, he led the horse over. And this old horse seems to be able to understand the words, dragging the mother and son across the river. When Ma came back, he seemed to have stepped on something. Stop in the water and stop leaving. Wang Youfu thought the horse's legs were entangled by water plants. So I went into the water to check. But I found that there was a golden sword under the horse's feet. This made Wang Youfu make a surprise fortune. A few days later, Wang Youfu finally returned to Hangzhou. But what he was waiting for was ridicule from his colleagues. People say it's so hot. The cotton you pulled back is worthless. Unless God helps you, it will snow heavily in the sky. Wang Youfu said, God might snow when he is happy. Sure enough, the next morning, it's really snowing in Hangzhou city. And the temperature drops rapidly. Cotton coats are short of. The cotton in Wang Youfu's hand turned into a treasure. Turned dozens of times. A few years later, Wang Youfu changed to a grain business, helping the poor in many places. I didn't expect that the more good he did, the more he earns. It really corresponds to the monk's words. No thoughts in your heart for others. Wealth is like a wave, and it cannot be escaped. Thank you for listening. I wish you better and better health. The wealth is getting more and more. Family is getting more and more harmonious.